it's nearly 10. Let's just see where we're at with that. Make sure you can all see. Everybody's got a good view. There we go. Might help if you can actually see what you're doing. There we go. Right, fabulous. Okay, let's just get everybody on. Okay. Right, pressing buttons. Right, so Instagram, different angle today. And let's just put this on here. Right. Okay. So, morning, sweet. Hi, Rach. Just putting everything on. I'll be with you in a second. Okay. Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh, no, don't. That's it. Crumbs. Pressing buttons I don't need to press. Crikey. Okay, so oh, it says I'm live on Facebook. Perfecto. Okay. Oh, that's not the flipping thing, is it? There we go. Found it. Right. Okay. There's one. Oh, crumbs. Let me mute myself. I'll be listening to myself with that. Right. That's that one. And let me just have a look here. I'll be with you in a second with the comments. Okay, there's that. And we are righty. Oh, crikey. Even I've got a blooming advertisement now. What's all that about? Morning, Ruth. Hi, Rach. Oh, my gosh, that's hilarious. Skip, get off. Oh, dear me. Crumbs, there we go. Okay, fabulous view from YouTube. And I have also got, what have I got? Facebook. There we go. Right, so I'll go back onto YouTube so I can see comments. Good morning if you're watching. Hello, everybody. Right, so I have got Instagram on a different angle, so hopefully people can see things a little bit more clearly, because people were saying that they were struggling with my hand going in the way. So I'm hoping now that's a little bit clearer for you guys. Obviously, YouTube's the best place to watch because you get the proper overhead view and you see everything I'm doing. To the side here, we've got Facebook. Good morning. So we're going to be recreating this little beast. Now, this is just a stencil, basically, and that's what I've used. Okay, so it is just a stencil. And we're just going to put the detail in, basically, and create the card. And it really is, I think, a lot of people have got stencils and they sort of struggle with what they're going to actually put in, or have it just as a back colour or stuff like that. But you can actually utilise that into some really cool imagery. And all it is just getting the right reference picture. Let me just grab a couple more so people can see. Morning, Chris, Louise, Terry, Rach, Ruth. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Debbie. Good morning. Right, so let me just grab a couple of... So, obviously, Tracy's got loads of different stencils. I mean, I've done that the other day and just painted the flower. But there's loads of different ones, different sizes as well. Chevrons, domes, trees, light bulbs. Now, these are really good. I've actually put them as light bulbs. That was funky. Baubles. Christmas is coming. Pussycats, if you like pussycats. Little hares, mice, pussycats. What else we got? We got the ferns, we've got jars, we've got tags, we've got hearts, we've got birdies, and we've got a jar. So don't be shy to sort of look through your collection and sort of have a look. I mean, it's not just Tracy Evans stuff, but obviously any of your stencils you've got, actually look at them and think of them in a different way. It's not just a backing. Morning, Jan, Terry, Chris, Louise, hi. Hello, hello, hello. Let me just move the old wording along. There we go. Sorted. So, it really is dead straightforward. Now, in the Facebook, on my page, I've actually put the picture, the reference picture I used to create this. And it didn't look like this. I've had to angle it round. It was the other way around, so I've had to flip it. Morning, Moira. And that, to me, that where you pull the different parts of your picture. But the main bits is there's blues and purples where there needs to be. There's black where it needs to be. There's red. There's white. And then there's reds and browns of different sorts to actually make it look like a pheasant. Yeah. And then this area here, because I didn't have with Tracy's stamps, I actually utilised this part of the stamping. I mean, you could do that, but that was a little bit too big for me. But this stamp here actually doubles down to some fabulous, as you can see, I've 2 of those I've used there, but that actually doubles down to some fabulous little, it could be flowers of any sort, really. So you just look at your different stamps and just look and think to yourself, how can I actually use the stamps in different ways? So this is very much trees, very much abstract, but I used it in a different way. Morning, hey up me duck. How you doing? Diddly doo dah. So to create this, let's get down to it and let's do it, because it is Father's Day. And on that note, obviously I just want to say, for all those that don't have their dads with them, through loss or just not in their lives, it can be a difficult day, but you know, you celebrate it to be proud of you and who you are, you know, at the end of the day. So I understand for those of you that don't have their loved ones with them, and for those of them that have chose not to have their loved ones with them, you know, there's a bit of a difference there. So, you know, this is for you guys, yeah, at the end of the day, regardless of the day. You know, this is all about different scenarios, different people, different ways that they deal with different things. I am very blessed to have my dad with me. I moved him in through COVID. Mum and Dad, I moved in with me through COVID, and they're still here. Bless their cotton socks. This is now their retirement home, and I'm their retirement village, you know. So it's all fun and games. We haven't killed each other yet, with the bonus, but you know, like I say, I'm very blessed in that sense. So this card, I am going to change it a little. Obviously we're going to do the pheasant, we're going to do this greenie, but I'm going to put something around it. Fabulous, Moira. I'm glad to hear that you've got some fabulous memories, and that's what it's all about. Memories in different ways through childhood, good or bad, but reflect on where you are today, because regardless, we're all going to be proud of each other in different ways. Okay, so we'll move on. So I have used a 6x6 piece of card, and this is 15 centimeters, 15 centimeter, however you want to do it. Morning, Ali. So yeah, it's 6 for us in inches, 6 inches by 6 inch card. And then obviously you can mat and layer on colours that will complement your place. Hi, Michael. Oh, you always make me chuckle when I say that. Love it. Hello, dear. Bless you. So it's all about, just like I say, getting the right reference picture for however it is you're using it. Now, I'll show you what I'm using just so you can break it down with me. So as I say, I am using SS18 Tracy Evans, and it is just that bog standard pheasant. Yeah, that's him there, just so you can see, no cheating. I'll show you how to put the base layer down and how to build him up. But this time I'm going to do it a little bit different. Like I said, I'm going to put some trees in the background, so it's a little bit of a scene, because I might send this out to somebody that needs cheering up. And then I use this TE35, and it was this one here, and I use that to create that little bit of grass area. Okay, morning, Trudy. So those, and that's it. 2 stencils, well, a stencil and a stamp which you wouldn't think to use. Okay, morning, Alison. Right, hello. Oh, and don't forget now, I'm just going to mention this actually. I'm glad, Chris, bless you. Oh, hearts to everybody. So there's a page out with regards to Amanda Branston, just to put all of her lovely videos that she's done when she was at Lavinia Stamps. Fantastic group. Sally Sunshine's put that group together, and it's got all of those lovely videos that Amanda's done. Now, all of us have put on pictures to dedicate to Amanda and that, and I went on there today to that group, and my stuff's been taken down, so which I'm quite sad about, actually. No explanation, nothing. At the end of the day, regardless of whether she's there or not, and in fact she's I believe she's on garden leave, so she's still actually a member of Lavinia Stamp still. So bit sad that something that you dedicate to somebody's been taken down with no explanation. So it might be very rare I post in that group again. Personal choice, yes, my own personal choice, because what's the point on putting things on there which are blatantly ignored or taken down for no reason? And it's just such a shame. That is, really is such a shame. So there's plenty of groups out there, but please, if you haven't joined that group that Sally Sunshine's put together, putting all those lovely videos of Amanda's amazing creations. Pop yourself in there, request it, answer the questions. You do need to answer the questions. And obviously, from the 27th, I will be in Tracy Evans' group, Tracy Evans Boutique Designs. And every Friday, I will be doing an hour. So it's 60 minutes of fun with me. And I'll be doing all sorts. So it'll be everything, all sorts of creativity. I'll be showing you the stamps. I'll also be showing any new releases that come out. I'll also be showing how they go down and how they stamp, so you can see what you're getting, you know. So that's how it goes. All right, so let's play. Poor Amanda and Sally. I was so disappointed when, yeah, Ali, things happen, unfortunately, you know. And at the end of the day, Sally's done a fantastic group. Amanda Jane Crafts is Amanda's group. Please join, you know. Yes, Louise, indeed. And I just wanted to say that because I never take anything down. I put my stuff up and I put it up, full stop, end of story. If it's not posted, different kettle of fish. But it was posted with comments on and it's been taken down. It's such a shame that things are being taken down out of that group. But there you go. Anyway, there's plenty of places for you to post, mash things up, mix it up and all the rest of it. So let's make this little devil. Right, so I'm just showing you what I've used. So it's SS18, which will be this. And this stamp here, which I'm going to get out now, just so you can see. And I will be strategically, I say that with my teeth in this morning, utilising these little bits on the stamp to create some pretty flowers. Okay, so that's that bit. So what am I using as regards to inks? And while I'm talking about other things, you can go and grab these. I'm using VersaFine Clair Shady Lane. So no black ink at all today. Go me. Well, there might be a little bit, obviously, in places. However, I'm using antique linen and brushed corduroy. Antique linen is going to play a really big part in this. Brushed corduroy is this bit of background here. Okay. And again, we're going to tickle with the brushes. I'm using a number 7 brush with a dome on. But there you go. That's that. Obviously, I'm going to have myself a stamping plate. And I'm going to have some paints. Now, oh, excuse me. Let me just move them up a little minute. So I have got my bleed proof white, best white on the market. I have a little bit of pan pastels. Did I use it on this? I don't think I did actually. No, I didn't. So forget pan pastel. Goodness me, let's put the lid on and just let's move it, because otherwise I'm going to think, why is it there? A pencil. I've even sharpened the end and it's all in one piece without it falling out. Fabulous. This is a Ryman pencil, just a normal HP, nothing fancy. And then I've got myself a baby wipe. Paints I used yesterday. Now I'll just show you how I mixed my palette up. So this is Winsor and Newton half pan set, and it's a full set of colours. And what I've done is, well, I don't know, I've lost that bit, so forget that bit. But all I've done here was I mixed up these. Now I have got some white. That white there is the bleed proof, so I'm not going to say it's this white because it clearly isn't. Black is from here. Brown selection of, and then I've put them down and I've mixed the white and the dark chestnut brown together to give me that paler colour. Selection of greens, and I'm just going to reactivate these with a bit of water and play around with them. The brushes I'm going to be using will be a 0 brush on squirrel hair, and also I have got my water brushes, which will probably be that one. So let's put those down. Now, detailing brushes. You guys are always messaging me about what detailing brushes can we use. Now, I spent a lot of money on Lavinia detailing brushes and they're a mess. Okay, so they really are terrible on the brush. Now, that one, the 5/0 is no good. Well, it is when it's wet, but when it's dry, it just really goes out and you have to take a lot to get it back together. The smaller one, which is the 2/0, is really, when you put it together, the hairs are just splitting all over the place, and I've tried to get it back. So those are 2 brushes I'm not even using. My go-to is this one, which is about 1 centimetre, and that's a 15/0. Okay. Now, I then checked all my other stuff. So I'm being open and transparent with you guys, as I always am. So Temu, nail brushes and all the rest of it, Right, so here we go. So these were probably some Timo special. I've glued them together because they're falling apart. But centimetre, perfect. Now look at that. Cheap, nasty brush, but my goodness me, it gives me brilliant line. And then I've got a liner brush, 12mm, and that 12mm is the actual length of the brush. And then I've also got a smaller 8mm. These weren't expensive, and I think these were either Amazon or Timo. So don't worry about spending a lot of money on a certain brush. Buy a pack, because out of it you will at least have one brush which will be cheaper than one brush elsewhere. So like I say, feel free to choose whatever price or whatever you want to do in regards to what you want to buy. This isn't a selling demo or anything like that. This is just to show you how to play around with different products. So these I get off Amazon, £4 for about 8. You just add your water in. As you can see, there's water in there. There's a little air bubble blowing along. And I've got a drawer full of them because I use them all the time. And they're fabulous, yeah. So they're the nice new one. And there's some thicker ones, there's thinner ones. But I've brought this set, and that's the thickest in the set. And that's what I hate, when little bits come tumbling out. But they're great if you like to do what I do and mix things up with paint and all sorts of different things. Hi, Sam. Gouda, hope you're well. Fabulous. Let me just say hello to everybody. Kim, Anke, Maddie. Oh, good morning, Amanda Jane Crafts. Lovely to see you with us. Kathy, Diane, hi. Ross, hello. Oh, Diane, just made me think. I have actually got one of your reference pictures for next week's project. That's going to be fun. You'll have to wait and see which one I'm using now. So there we go. And if you want to send me reference pictures that you'd like me to do, feel free. So I don't know what brush I'm just going to see. We'll pick up and do it as we go. So let's actually start. Well, I've had 15 minutes of waffle. Crikey. Shoot me now. Right, let's move all these stuff out the way. So that's all we need. Let's put them over there. So yeah, paints, any paints, by the way, it hasn't got to be Winsor and Newton, far from it. Goodness me, use whatever you have. Right, I'll use my picture as a reference picture. Might help, mightn't it, really? Now, first thing I'm going to do is move that. Let me just put that on a plate so I know where it is. There you go. Now, I sort of put my little pheasant in the middle. Bless his cotton socks, right? So, and then I got some masking tape, and I'm reusing what I used yesterday because I'm not shy like that, you see. I'm not stringy either, but I'm also mindful and think to myself, well, what do I need to get another piece for? Because this sticks, it's quite fine. So I just done top and bottom. You put it wherever you like. Now, all I'm going to do now is get antique linen. Now, you ready? And I've got my brush, I'm putting plenty on the brush, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down in the corner so you can all see differently now. Yeah, everyone can see fine. Perfect. Oh, well, thumbs up. So I always forget, because I'm that busy enjoying what I'm doing crafting wise, I always forget to tell you. So wherever you are, give us a thumbs up. Please comment, please share, please subscribe, all the normal nonsense. Also subscribe to, or share, or like, or follow Makers of Magical Things, Amanda Jane Crafts, Nice Crafting Mashup, Crafty Corner, Tracy Evans Boutique Designs. There you go. I think that's about it, really. There you go. Sorted. And to be fair, Amanda's actually had a play, and she done a thing, and it was a fabulous thing she done too. Right, now look at that. All that tickety-boo chatting nonsense and whatnot. There we go. And don't worry if you go over the lines. Voila. Should we go home now? There you go. Done. Right, let me just put this masking tape out. I might get another use out of that yet. I know, sad, didn't I? Well, wait. Right, so there we go. One little birdie. Bless him. He's a lovely little thing, this one is. Ever since I brought this, that was the first time I used it doing that particular card. And I kept thinking, well, I need to do a card with a pheasant on. And my dad loved it, by the way. So I have so there are, Dad, what do you think of that? You know, as you do. Bless him. So There you go. I haven't used the inner. You do get the inner and the outer. In, out, shake it all about, okey pokey and all the rest of it. I'm going to put that in my stockpile now. Right, so we now have our lovely pheasant. Now, I want to build up that area around, because once we start putting the detail in, the detail and the build up are the last parts of the card, and that means the flowers or whatever you want to put down. It hasn't got to be flowers, you can just do a bit of grass, but this, once it's done, is done. Okay, so I'm just going to put him there, and I'm just going to grab a little bit more of antique linen, and I'm just going to buff around that area where I think, oh, I might have a bit of grass there. Yeah. And then what I want to do is, because I don't want it just brilliant white, but if you want it white yourself, leave it. And all I'm going to do now is just buff around that outer area like so. I mean, I know I tell you not to do all that. Do those little circles, bring it out and around you. And then I'm going to get brush corduroy, and I used brush corduroy because I thought it's morning, Sylv. I used brush corduroy because I felt it was a little bit more softer than using, say, gathered twigs or vintage photo or frayed burlap. I wanted it just so it blended into the background. So again, just a little bit on your brush. You can tap. See, I'd never tap off and stuff like that. People tap off. Do what you need to do. If you're going to tap off, do it in your lid, because then you're saving your ink, ain't you? That's the way I see it anyway. So on the original picture, I've gone quite heavy at the top, and this is what's made me think I want to put some trees in this time. So I'm going to go over that his tail area, and I'm just going to put a little bit more. And you know me about that archway on the bristle. I'm absolutely going to just tickle it around. We're tickling. You'll get used to me. We're tickling. There we go. Now, voila. Morning, Sylvs. Dibbles. Yeah, Officer Dibbles is our Sylv. Bless her cotton socks. So this is what you've got now. Okay. So you've got antique linen as your actual base, and then we've got that little bit of movement around. Now I want some sort of trees. Now, to be fair, I only used this. Now you can quite easily do some sort of wiggly bits around, and I am going to use this because I don't want to get another stamp out and you go, oh crikey, you only said you were using these, Lise. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to build up this then. Okay, so Shady Lane permanent ink. So once it's down, it's down. Now you can, if you want, I've got a bit of scrap paper, so just rip it, shred it, do what you want. Morning, Sharon, hope you're well, my sweetie. I don't think there's any comments. Carly Lee, hi. Heather, hi. Bernadette, hi. Bernie Boo, Mags, hi. There we are. I think that's about, oh crikey, blum blum blum. There we go. Fee, hi. Kim, hi. Right, there we go. Hi, hi, hi. If I haven't said hello to you, it's nothing personal. Hello, okay? It's just that if I start scrolling through messages, and that'll be it forever because I've got 3 feeds to go through. Okay, so I've covered the whole shaboony there. Why not? So I want to bring this down now to have it to look as though we've got that sort of tree, but I don't want it to be like a heavy... So I am going to sort of have a bit of paper here, and I am just going to first and second, third generation, no doubt, third, fourth, until the ink comes off. Yeah, let's say that. And I've stopped it there, and plenty of ink on again. So a juicy pad. So if you've got something that's half dead, either re-ink it or buy a new one. All right. You're going to need plenty of ink on that, especially if you're doing first, second, third generation sort of thing. And I'm just going to sort of balance it, and I'm just going to do a bit over in the corner here, and again I'm going to do roughly the same, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a movement, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, I don't know, whatever you want to do really. So that gives me that sort of array that our lovely little pheasant will be in, sort of a bit of a bush area, which is very rare, because when you ever see a pheasant, they're always in the middle of a field, just sitting there waiting to be either attacked or shot. You know, they're not clever in that sense. Now I actually do want to just complement this, and I'm just going to bring, and I'm going to do it like so, but bear in mind we are actually going to paint, so don't worry about covering. If you think you're going to lose, I'll show you how to bring it back. The whole reason why I've put it down first of all was to make sure you can see. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit there. Now this is a little bit different, like I say, to the original, because you know me, I never do repeats. Okay, I'll always alter things as you do. So I am just going to add a little bit of here and there. Now I'm going to take this off. Now you know me and my finger stamping. This one here, so as you're looking at the stamp, this one here is the one I'm now going to use. Now I'm mindful that I've just used it, so that means I've got ink over everywhere else. So I'm going to wipe that because I'm good. It's not very often, but I am honest. Let me just, yeah, I think that'll do. There you go. Right. Now, I am going to put a little bit of ink on this, and I'm just going to build up a little bit of area, but I am going to paint, build up, restamp, but I just want that interpretation of where my little pheasant is. So I am going to be, I'm going to show you where you can see. So I'm going to just do those little, as you can see, that's all I've done. Yeah. And that's that, just that bit there. And then I'm going to think to myself, well, I definitely want my little pheasant. I'm just going to, and don't worry if you think to yourself, well, there's a lot going on here. We will, let me just wipe that off. We will actually bring this down. So don't think, wow, I've lost my picture. You won't. Trust me. Process, trust process, play, have fun. Yeah. That's what this is all about. Okay. Because without being funny, this is more or less done. You know, so you can add whatever you want here. I'm going to add some more paints and stuff. But that gives me that interpretation of that lovely pheasant. I'm going to put this out the way a second, and I'm going to put that over there out the way. And that's it. Now, if you think to yourself, I've lost Mr. Pheasant, you can then, Lisa's put it away. You can put him back down, and you can make sure you've got it where he needs to be, right? Because this is where accidents can quite easily happen. And you can, I only want that bit there, just go over where you feel the tail, if you feel that you've lost any part of that, doing that background up. So for me now, I quite like what we've got on that picture, because I know what I'm going to add to it is going to change it again, because it's all about layering with me. So we've got an oxide layer, and now we've now got the stencil on, and we've now got that layer. Morning, Amanda. Sissy Poos is in the house. Morning, Maggie Mo. Boom, boom, boom. Happy You Day. There we go. I think we'll just say it as that. For those people that are in different situations, it's a Happy You Day. Okay, so what we're going to do now, first of all, I'm going to put down the backing of where that the grass area is, because then the rest of it I can build up, and I can build up Mr. Pheasant. Okay, so I'm not going to use those anymore, so we can put them out the way, so you don't get confused and think to yourself, I've got this, we've got to use. No, move it out the way. If you don't need it, move it. So hopefully everybody's with us at the minute. Love living rural. Oh, love it. Eat raisins. Oh, really? That's an interesting. Wow. How interesting is that? Right then, so we have got water brush, obviously with water on, and then I'm probably going to use zero brush, which is my squirrel hair. Bless. Morning. Now I have got my Fumi brushes, and I'm yet to use them yet. One of them. So we've got water brush, we've got this brush, and then let's have a look. I'll tell you what we're going to use. I'm going to use this one, which is taped and glued together. Yep, we've got a straight end on that, so I'm happy to use that. So I can put that out the way. And then if I want any of the others, they're there. Yeah, that one. So when I look at that one, that's split. Yeah. And this is where, to me, I won't use that because I don't like the split on it. And that one's okay. So yeah, I can use the 12mm and that one. And I'm probably going to say it's about a 10mm. Okay. And that's down to the length on your brush. Gamekeeper. Oh, fabulous, Chris. So you see it all then. Right. So pencil. So we've got a brush, a water brush, and 2 little detailing brushes and a lid. And obviously we're going to be using that. So the pencil. Now, what I done, and you haven't got to be Picasso, all right? But you can roughly see where the tail is. So all I done here was I put a line with a pencil, nothing deep. So don't go, you ain't got to go like that. You're just sketching. So it's very light, okay? So you're going to do, okay, there's a little bit of a line there where he's going to have a couple of feathers, yeah? So look on your reference picture, even if you get several different pictures, picture of a head, picture of his tail, picture of his legs, I don't know. Again, it's whatever you're comfortable with, all right? And then I sort of thought to myself, on my reference picture, I haven't really got much detail, but on this one today, I'm going to try and actually put a bit of a wing in properly. I want to have an idea of where the white around his neck will be. And I'll show you this in more detail. Whoop is my septum. And then his beak. Now his beak comes into his face and then it comes down with a funny shape. His eyeball's about here. And then he's got a bit of a red bit around there. Yeah. Now, if you've got a decent detailing brush, that bit is going to be easy to do with your detailing brush. And then here. So all I've done, I'm going to show this a bit closer now. The white bit around his neck here, he's got a bit of a wing thing going on there. I've got 2 sticky lines there. His beak's going there, his eye, and the red bit. And then this is going to be the purples and the greens and the blues, reds, oranges, greyish funky legs and lighter pinks and stuff, okay? And I'll show you guys as well, all right? So I think, yeah, see, you can see a bit better. And that's all you do. You're just going to eyeline. All you're going to do is just break down. So off a stencil, you can then look and actually start adding little bits of detail, okay? And so that's your pencil done. So all we've got now is paint. And don't think to yourself, oh, crumbs, paint. That's like the difficult bit. Well, it's not really. So all I want you to do is, let's put a reference, but I'm going to bring these along so hopefully people can see it a little bit. Yeah, everyone can see it there. You got, yeah, okay. Everyone can see where they need to see, which is good. I'm going to put my tissue up there now. And I'm going to put my actual brushes in the brush holder. So I've already done paint on the side. And if you can't see this, I do apologise, but brown is like a chestnut brown, so it's a dark brown. And then I've got reddy browns. And off the paint set, I've got a strip of colour. So I've got reds, oranges, yellows, greens, mustards, blues, black and white, and then browns into mustards and yellows, okay? And then it's just a case of mixing up what you can see or what you think you can see in colour-wise, yeah? So I'm going to start with the light. Now, you know me in the lighter colour. So I'm going to start with the lighter colour there. And that's white and the chestnut brown mixed together. So I'm just going to spray lightly over what I already used. And if I need to mix anything else up, I can do that as we go. So I have got clean water over on the side, and a lot of the times I wipe my brush off and I wipe the excess water off, because if you have a load of water on that brush and put it on, it's going to go splodge out, especially if you've got a good brush that holds the water. So be mindful of that, because the last thing I want you to do, as I always say, is have a little bit of a Picasso and then ruin it, okay? So this colour here, which I said was white and chestnut brown, and that's all I've done was mix it together. So I've got that on here now, and all I'm going to do is give me that interpretation. Now, for me, there's too much on the brush, but again, it's okay because I can move it around. Now, you're using watercolour, and in that watercolour, I've also got that little bit of white bleed proof, which I love using. So don't worry where you've got, if you've got that over part. Like I say, I've done this a little bit different to the original one, and that's just me. Okay, so I've painted over that quite well. I'm quite happy with how that's gone over. And as I go, I can put a black line over there, because when you look at the pheasant's tail, it's got those little black lines. So I ain't worried about thinking, oh, I've just ruined it. Honestly, take that out your head. So your base tone of your pheasant is like a brown. So I'm going to put down sort of this yellowy mustardy colour, which when I look on my pans is sort of the lower end of the colours. Now I'm just going to spray my pans, and my pans are my paints, and I'm just going to activate them with a little water, and I always spray them all because I love them all. What size brush, please? Yes, it's a 0. So it's not a big hefty brush, it's a little neat nimble one. But if you haven't got 0 brushes, a 1 will do, but 0. If you buy squirrel hair brushes, I've got Amazon sets which were quite cheap, and then I've got expensive sets. This is my cheap set and I love it. That's all I'm going to say there. So I'm going to just put together that base. So all I'm going to do now is just remember I've sort of painted out a little bit of an area, and I don't mind going over what I've already painted, because that adds that little bit of colour in and it blends in together really nice. Now I know that it's going to be darker down there, so it's pointless me putting a load of paint on that area there because it's dark. And then all I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to put a bit of that dark chestnut brown. Now if you haven't got paints or a basic paint set, then you can use walnut stain if you're using oxides, scorched timber, ground espresso. If you're using elements, what is it, truffle, I think. If you're using paints, acrylics, then just use a dark brown. Okay, so I'm now going into my dark brown, and I'm also going onto my pan as well. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the indication of where I roughly think sort of the front part of his butt. Now when you're putting it down, you can either do a line, a straight line, or you can just do little sort of bits depending on you, whether you've got arthritis, whether you've got all different things going on. You might find it easier just to do little touchy bits. Now the touchy bits are great around here because the pheasants have got those little tufts of hair, and if you've got a decent brush, that point is going to stay on it, and if the point stays on it, you can actually utilize that for those little strokes, which will then take it into the feather tail, but it will also take it into the leg. So I'm just going to bring this up to show you. Like I say, I'm no Picasso, right? I'm just showing you easy ways, and for all of you out there that are fabulous watercolor artists, hey, I'm just doing my version, you know, so don't pull me apart. I'm just having a bit of fun and sharing what I do. Okay, so that's that bit. Now I'm just going to blend this up, and I'm going to take it a bit into here, and I'm going to take a bit over, and you can see I'm just doing little lines. Now if you don't like something, you know what I'm going to say, we got water. Now you can, if you've got like, whether it's an acrylic paint or a plate, you know, if you haven't got like a pan set, you're better than me. Only just, you know, don't put yourselves down, people. If you've got darker bits and you think to yourself, oh, it's too dark, but get a bit of water on it, let's move it around. Yeah. And when you've got that bit of water on and you're moving it around, you might think to yourself, oh, I can just add a little bit of something else into that then, can't you? Well, yes, you can. Because you've got a lighter colour playing around, that blend's going on really well. So you can put the reddish part into here. Now the reddish part is sort of like a London brick colour if you've got Inkology sets. If you've got pans, it's going to be, and pans I mean paint, you're going to have your brown maybe with a bit of red. Again, you use what you've got, and please don't think you've got to rush out and go and buy 20 million paint sets. All you've got to do is just have a basic pan set, and you can mix those colours up. So even if you just get a basic paint set, even a children's paint set. They will have brown, it will have green, it will have all these colours in for you to mix, and all you need then is a white. Yeah, because you can make black. Black is yellow, red and blue mixed together. Yeah, equal amounts, and that's your black. White is white, and white will be your bleed proof. And then the rest of it you can just mix your variations. Put them in your little palettes at the side so you've always got them. Yeah. That was off something else I've done. I just haven't cleaned my palette because I'm good like that. I never do. You'll realise I'm quite a lazy and messy person. But I don't mean no harm to anybody, and that's that. Right, so let's build up this red. Here we go. Let's build him up. So let's bring that red down. Now, if you wanted to, you can actually put an orange and a red together. So let me bring that over here so you can see what I'm doing without causing chaos. Oh, crumbs, it's stuck to my finger. Hey, what's it like? So you can go into an orange and into a red. And let me have some water. There we go. Let's put a bit of water down. So orange and a red. Now, or a ready red. Yeah. And on Mr. Pheasant, depending how vibrant you want to go with him, you can just put that down. Now, just tap it down. And because you're wet on wet, it'll just settle just nice for you to start playing around with that colour. Now, we want a bit of orange or a bit of yellow. And again, let's have a look. Let's go into my yellow. So I'm going directly neat into the paint now. And I'm just going to just tap along these areas here. Just to add. And then I'm just going to tap it into that red and just bring it down. Because yellow going into the red will make the orange. Which will then obviously bring it into your design that you're doing. So we're actually bringing it down, and I'm going to go in with a bit more of a brown, that darker brown again. And because it's wet, that means when I touch it, it's giving me sort of a feathery effect, which when I look at him is actually starting to look like a pheasant. Yeah, do you get where we're at now? So you haven't got to be Picasso. You haven't got to think to yourself, well, I can only do this if I can do that. It's a load of nonsense. Just have a bit of fun. So I'm going to go into that sort of mustardy colour again, and I'm just going to tap on, and I'm going to go into that darker bit of brown, and I'm going to bring it around. And literally all I'm doing is constantly mixing the colours together. So I'm going to clear my brush off. Now I want an orange, so I'm going to go directly in to quite a vibrant orange, because when you look at pheasants, they're absolutely amazing. They really hold, the colours are stunning on them. So I want to, I want to give you those colours. So again, I'm just going to blend it in. So I've got that bit of orange now. So I'm looking at the camera and I'm thinking, yeah, I quite like that. He looks like a blob of orange there. Perfect. So I'm going to get a bit daring now. So I'm going to do up here, we've got, it's blues and greens now. Very peacocky, very vibrant. So I'm going to put the blue down first. Now the blue I'm going to put down is a very light, well, it's the lightest blue in my set. And there is quite a bit of ink on there. So I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to make sure that my ink, the paint is wet but not saturated. And then all I'm going to do is tap my brush. So for one, it gives the look of a feather, but it also is going to place that sort of blue roughly where I want it. Now I am going to bring it down because I know white's got to go there, but it's paint, it'll dry and you can layer it. You know me and layers. So I'm going to wipe that off. And then I'm going to dry my brush off, and then I'm going to go into my light green. Now I must admit, this green I've got on this particular set, it absolutely complements this little pheasant basically. And you can still see that it's wet, okay, on the card. So you can see what I'm doing. So the wet part, I am just going to start dabbing wet on wet so it blends together just nicely. And that green on top of that blue will start to give you that pop of, yes, we've got him coming along. Now I'm going to go with a darker blue, and I'm going to go with the blue next to it. And it's very much
not dark, deathly dark, but it's a deep sort of true blue. It's probably the best way I can describe it. And I'm going to go sort of front and back of my pheasant, and I'm going to sort of bring it along, nothing major, but I'm actually going to bring it so it looks like we've got a bit of shadow in there, and then I'm going to bring it so it's just a little bit, just bringing it around here. Now, while that's still a little bit wet, I'm going to dry off the brush, clean it, and I'm pulling away any excess water. And all I'm going to do is whatever's wet on there, I am absolutely just going to play around and move it together, because that green will go into the blue nicely. The blue will go into the green. And wherever I need anything else, I can add it. Now, I'm just going to put that there. So I want to add, I'm going to dry that now because I want this dry, because I want to add a colour on top so it pops. So I'm now going to add the lighter blue back on. That'll do. Nothing major. And how we left it with a little bit of light, just a little bit, so it's just touching my brush now. And all I'm going to do is just dab it on to where that darker blue is, and then just bring it around. So it's given me that sort of, Mr. Pheasant is sort of doing his little thing now. And I just want to add some green. So I'm just going to wipe the brush, and I'm going to add a little bit just on the tip of my brush. And again, it's all about the layers, but it's actually, that now has given me that pop, what I needed for his neck. Now, the red is a very much like, bam, proper lush like red. So like a cherry red, not a dark red, not like a blood red, but a hearty red. Don't know how else to explain it to you. It's just like a proper in your face red. Let me just take some. So make sure, because we're going to do a small area now, make sure you haven't overloaded your water. And I'm going to take a bit more off. Right, so I'm going to see what that's like. So I'm going to work with the tip of the brush. And around his head, we know his eye is going to be about there, but I want to put this red down, and it's a bit like a gel sort of thing, you know, what you see on a chicken. So it's that sort of shape, and I want to bring it down like so. So I'm going to show you that now. And this is where you've got to sort of think to yourself, don't go too mad. Don't over. It's quite a dry brush. It's wet but very dry on the side. I know that's really weird for me to say, but it's the best way I can describe it. So it's not, I can't wring the brush out, but when you touch the brush, it feels damp. So if you stick it in and tap it off, then you'll look how much water's there. You put that on, you're going to ruin all this lovely hard work you've done. Okay, so try and keep your brush moist, just enough water to pick up a bit of paint. Now I'm going to pick a black up now, and the black I've already put down, but your black is already in this. But like I say, I have activated, I squirted that little bit of water on prior. Now what I want to do now is come under his little chin, bless him, and I'm just going to come down a little bit, and then I'm going to go to the side, just around there, over his head, well, over that little bit of red, and then I'm just gonna, he's got these little tufty bits there, and that's what I'm done there. Now when I'm looking, I can see there's a little bit of dark here, so I'm just touching the brush in places, because when I move that, black is such a strong colour, just a smidgen, that's all you need. And I'm just going to dab, I mean dot, dab, dot, however you want to say it, just a little bit there. Then I'm going to rinse off my brush, pull any excess off, and then play around with that wet bit of colour. That will just blend that, because I just want that layering. I want the layer here, yeah, and I want it to give me that interpretation. And if you think there's too much on, we will then put some more colour over, so don't panic. You are not going to ruin what you've done, okay? And again, I'm just lightly bringing down the colours. I'm blending that blue into the black, so it's like a really darker blue now. And I'm going to take that around here. And I'm probably going to end up putting a little bit more red on there. But I just want to give that a bit of a blend now. There we go. So his neck with the green and the blue actually looks quite okay. So I'm going to dry that off because I do want to add a little bit more red. And the only reason I want to do that is because looking at my reference picture, I've got less black in that area there. So I know I've already wiped off my brush, and there's still a little bit of dampness on the red there. And all I'm going to do is just paint over that little bit of darker area, which is fine for me. And then because if you've got that little bit of black merging in, any little shadow work you want to do, you can do. Have a good time. Oh, I missed that one. It's all right. Have a good time, Lisa. Grabbing a cheeky 5 minutes on it. Oh, hello, Rose. Where? I hope you make sure you stop plenty of times for toilets. Nothing worse, is there? Nothing worse than somebody having something and you needing a bit of fresh air at times, isn't it? Right, so love it. Sorry. Back on to painting. We're going to just put some bit of white in the areas now. So we're going to do the neck and his beak. Now, as I said, I've already got, this is going to be too much. So we're going to go onto the detailing brush now. So I'm going to use this one with a smaller one. So I'm going to put some water on the brush for starters, because it always helps, doesn't it? So over here, I've already activated some white. So I'm just going to move it around so we've got that creaminess. Now, what I do find, if you've put the bleed proof white down, it will go quite hard. But when you put, behave yourselves, when you put water onto it, it'll soften up. But it can also go quite sort of chunky in places. So if you don't want to reuse and you're going to dip into like your liquid, fine. But let me just see if this is going to work, and then if not, I will pick up. Now, on Mr. Fine Detail, bless it. Oh yeah, it's going to be fine. I'm just going to bring that down. Now, don't worry if you lose the beak part, because we are going to use a fine detail brush and just put a little bit of a black line in areas. Now, I am going to just go in off here. Now, I don't know why, probably because it's a tight lid and it just keeps it moist, but when it's in the lid, and this is why I usually paint out the lid, it's so much better when you put it on here. I shall just probably use that as a mix, so I'll mix it up with a colour for grey or whatever. But yeah, try and do it out your lid. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. I'm going to bring this down. Everyone can still see. Yes, you can. Right, so I am going to do a little tiny dot where I think his eye is. Now, that's just a reference for me because I need to put a black dot there. Now, with regards to his neck, it's not just a blob of white. What I want you to try and do is just dot and then build it up to sort of join a few of the dots together, and then just take it towards the back, because the feather part of it is not just a straight, even though from a distance it looks like a straight line, but it's actually not. Now, you can bring little bits down if you want. You can add tiny bits running through just where some of the feather work is. You can add, let me just add a bit of water and just clean my brush off a second. There we go. Okay. You could add a little bit just under that area there. And then you just want to make sure that you've got what you need on his beak. Now, with regards to detail, and again, it's always about, if you're going to do on more than what your neighbour's doing, so to speak, you know, you're just going to do a couple of dots in places for that sort of idea of where that wing area is, because this is where you're going to build up. I just had a blob on that. Let me just take that off. There you go. You're going to build up the area. Now I'm just going to have a little bit of water on my brush, and I'm just going to merge this in so it's not as harsh. because again it's so easy to lose what you've done. So I'm just going to get my bigger brush with a bit of water on and then wipe it off, because like I say, I don't want this to be like a great big harsh piece. Now if it's too much, you're just going to take down that light a bit in places and move it. Same as this, you want to now blend that in, so a little bit of water on. So can you see how you get those different effects just adding different bits? I'm just going to say, if I just pick up a tiny bit of white, that's it, there we go, sorted, there we go. Okay, so I'm now going to go with a detailing brush, and I'm going to go in with a black, and I'm just going to come under, so it gives me a shadow of under his little beak. Now I have also, when you load up with black, do a couple of lines on your palette or wherever you are, so you know what line you're going to get. Now I'm going to turn this around, and I am going to go and follow that little area, which for me is his beak, and then I'm going to sort of give him his little nostril area when it works. Let me just, that was it, let's just do my little nostril area, there we are. And then I'm also going to put his eye in. Now I'm going to go over that white, and it is only tiny in proportion. Okay, mesmerizing. He's getting there, he's getting there. But I'm just showing you techniques of what you can take and the next level to your work, you know, because when you are posting in other groups, you know, or just posting for yourself in general, people are looking at your artwork because you are an artist. You're all artists, yeah? Right, so I'm now going to go from the top of his head, and I'm just going to do a little quick line down, okay? Don't panic if you stop, because I want to take that black off. I don't want just a big black line going down. And I've now got just a damp brush, and I'm just going to take that down now, just that damp bit down. Yeah. Now you can, let me just get a little bit of tissue without knocking everything, very quickly up and off, yeah? And that will just allow me to then get me white and just do a little bit of highlight if I need to, or move that black if I need to. Yeah, I'm going to put a bit more of a white on so it pops it. There we go, better. So now, because I'm going straight into the white, and I've got the tiniest little drop, as you can probably not see, but I'm just trying to smidge in, yeah, you get it. And I've anywhere where I think to myself, I just need a little bit more of a pure white, that's then where I'm going to put his band around his neck, yeah. And then where I've got that little bit of, put a little bit of black on here, and I'm just going to give him sort of a feathered effect. Let me just put a little bit more on. There we go. Like a feathered effect coming down under his eye when it works. Let me just get a bit of water here. There we go. Right, there we are. Sorted. So as I say, it's like a little feathering effect what we're doing there. And I'm just going to dab that off. Better. Right, now then, there we go. And these things do take a little bit of practice and time, however, it's worth it, as you can clearly see, because you're all sitting there going, oh yeah, wow, you know, but you're all more than capable of doing this, totally and utterly. Now I want to add a little bit of yellow around his eye, and this is where your attention to detail will outsmart everybody else. Now, on my yellows, I've got a really vibrant yellow, which I can never pick up. So just bear with me a second while I wiggle my brush around. Let's see if I can get it on in one. As you do. All right, let's have a look. Oh, I think I got a bit. Yeah, oh, I got yellow. Okay. So where the black is, and we have got a dot for his little eyeball. I'm now, excuse me if you see my head, I do apologise, but just on the bottom part of his eye, with that wet yellow, I'm going to go around, and I just want to pull a tiny bit. Let me just dab it, yep. And I can go in now, because as your paint starts to dry, it gets that little bit thicker. And that's roughly when you want that paint to come and hit in places. Now, you could also just put some little yellow highlights. If you've got it on your brush, just put it on, because the yellow will go in. You're not going to be ruining anything, okay? Now, there's a little bit of purple, only a smidgen, and I just want to add a little bit of a purple highlight. Now, it's like a purpley blue. So, whatever you've got that sort of resembles it, or you could actually make it up. Red and red and blue together will make you a purple. And I just want to give just a couple of those little lines there, just to keep in with those lovely sort of colours of our lovely little man. Proud little thing strolling around he is. Now, I'm just going to have a little dabble with this beak area again here. I just want to bring it down. So I suppose, yeah, you've just got to have a little bit of steady hand on this. And if you haven't, you know, see if you've got somebody there that can help you. Grandchildren, anybody really. It's all good fun. It's all about just playing and expressing. Nothing's got to be exact. Nobody has said that you've got to do this exact piece exactly like it looks. Yeah, you do you, plain and simple. If anybody says anything different, tell them to PM me. Right, so I'm just going to go over the black, the red now. I do apologise, getting my colours mixed up. It's easy done with me, it's easy done. So I just want to pop that red a little bit more, especially around the eye area. There we go. So now we can sort of have a look at these browns, and I do want to start pulling in a bit more of a darker brown. So I'm just going to get that bit of chestnut, that bit of darker. And all I'm going to do now is just sort of, just some little dots. And again, I'm using a 0 brush. I'm just playing around with placements. If you're unsure, pick it up, have a look. You've got quite a big blob there of dark. Clean brush, but wet, but not wet. You know what I mean now. And all I'm going to do now is just move it around. Yeah. So that wetness moves it around. Yeah. So let's think about his little legs now. So they're sort of a grey. Now I know I've got a white here. So I'm just going to put a bit of white on my palette there. And I've got a little bit of grey, black obviously. And then all I'm going to do is just mix it with that manky white now, because I don't like it. Now I am going to come down and I'm going to think, well, his foot went there. And if you've lost it, just get your stencil back out. And I'm going to come down, and it come down and over because he's taking a step. Yep, there we go. Nowhere else do I need grey, and that's all you need it for. And if you've got a lot on there, just gently touch it off or dry it, whatever's good for you. And if you wanted to go more of that lighter brown, pinky sort of colour, you could then put that over that grey and just take that colour into it. Yeah. You know, that colour that we used on the tail, because we now need to start pulling the tail together. So I'm now going to get the darker brown, which is like that nice chestnut colour. Just put a bit of water there. Fabulous. Now you don't need too much water on this. So with a steady hand, I should say, with a steady hand, let me just put that there now. What I'm going to do is from the top, I'm going to come down, just nice and slowly. Nothing major, because we're going to move everything out. And I'm going to just put a little bit down like so, a little bit down like so. Now when you get to his little back end area, I just want to just flick out some of these darker, just so it looks like some of his feathers are just all sort of playing around together. And then I'm just going to apply and pull some of these colours in where we've got that colour which was quite harsh. Bring it in. Okay. perfect. Now I'm going to let that dry. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to dry over it because I want to start putting down that the area now for where he's standing. Now you can use whatever greens are good for you. I like olive greens and I like a mix. So we've already got this stamped, but all I'm going to do now is just allow the colour just to move around in different places. I mean, you could even pop a little bit of water on if you wanted to. Bit of paint, bit of water, bit of movement. You've got the oxide underneath. I don't want to, let me put that there. I don't want to sort of spoil anything that you think, oh, I really like that. Yeah, so it's just a mix of different greens now. Let's have him sort of chilling in the field before the farmer comes and shoots him and has him for tea in a pot. Been there, done it, and all the rest of it. Life circle, etc, etc. So up here you can also again add a little bit of water. Now not too much, so I'm going to lightly spray. And all I'm going to do now is I've lightly sprayed, so just where that bit of water is, I just want to follow sort of my tree area and just make it look like we've got a bit of a bush following that sort of what we've put in with that movement basically. And then I just want to maybe just put a little bit here. And again, don't worry, it hasn't got to look perfect. I mean, you know, don't be so hard on yourself and think, oh, crumbs, I've really ruined that. Says who? I just think you're just brilliant for having a go, you know. So I've put a bit of white on. Let's change things up a bit. Yeah, let's change it here. Let's put a bit of lightness into it. So we've got that lovely background colour. So the what did we use now? We used antique linen and brush corduroy, which will automatically give you that sort of feel, you know, for the background, which I think it complements it so well. But where you've added your water, again, it will just wisp it out. And if it's not soft enough for you, all you've got to do is before anything dries, get some more water on your brush and just take it out, soften your edges. Because your where you've stamped, it's not going anywhere because it's permanent. So, you know, don't be sort of worrying and think to yourself, well, I'm going to lose that. Well, you're not actually. You're just going to heighten it in different ways. And we're going to heighten it anyway because we're going to possibly add a bit of colour onto it if you want. So I'm just going to add just a bit more of a green over here. And like I say, I'm not too worried. Oh, it looks quite cute now. So I am going to get the heat on it now. And there we go. Fabulous. I'm going to concentrate on that bottom bit. And then around here, I now just want to sort his tail out because his tail looks a little bit too thick and not what I want, basically. I'll say it as it is. I ain't happy. So I'm going to get this little detailing, and like I say, this is only a cheap one. It fell apart. I've taped it back together again. You know, say it as it is. So I'm now going to go in with the darker brown. So I'm actually going to go into the palette, take the ink and put it in where it's wet. Now, I am now going to just pull a couple of areas and just do a little line here and there. And I'm going to bring that down. In fact, let me just, where's my other brush gone? Let me just, so where you got that bit of thick, let's just move it in with a lighter. Let's just erase that. And this is what I love about working with watercolours, because if you ain't happy about something, you can take it away. You know, with other paints that you use, you can't do that. With these, you can. So I'm going to stay because I'm quite happy with me and what I do. But for you, you can quite easily just put, you know, with your little detailing brush, and just put in just a couple of little lines there. And then what I'm going to do, let me just get a fine liner. Oh, I've got one there. There you go. Now I've got a number 3. I'm just going to dry that off. Right, so This is archival pigment micron, and it's a 3, number 3. It's got 03 at the top. You can get these in all different colours. This is black. So I'm absolutely going to just complement just a couple of little lines here and there. Now I just want to make sure, yep, we've got movement, we've got stuff. Now on his little legs, just like chicken, you can have those little lines, and you can also just, if you wanted to, just heighten little areas. And if you don't like it, all you've got to do then is just go over it with a brush, which I'll do in a minute, because I just want to blend. I don't want a harsh blend. However, I do want the interpretation of his wing here. Now with the pheasants, they've got these lovely little sort of little U's or little V's, depending on how you want to put them in. I've done the original one with paint, but because I've got this in my hand and it's here, I'm going to do it there. And again, you can just dot over in places, and that will just bring up that detail around here. And again, you can just do his little, just those little bits here and there. And if you wanted to just heighten anything, just take it down and join it in if you need to. All right, same as on the back area here. If you wanted to just have anything crisper, just take those little lines down. And to me, we have actually got something that resembles a pheasant quite well, to be fair. So let me just get my brush. Now remember, it's not it's damp, so I'm going to rinse it off to make sure there's no paint. I'm going to dab it off and I'm going to pull it off. As in, you can see there's enough ink, water to move ink. So don't think, oh well, what's that going to do? You're going to be really surprised, but you've got to start understanding what your brush is and what things do. Yeah, now I want to put a bit of a shadowing under him, so I'm just going to get a little bit of black and grey, maybe a bit of grey black. Yeah, and I just want to, just so it looks like we've got that little bit of undershadow just as he's walking along, and just a little bit of water. There we go. Now because we're sort of, let me just see, yep, I'm now going to stamp on, because I quite like this loose, so I'm not going to worry about that. But here I just want to stamp in some little areas, because I just want to put some flowers down. So I am going to use, just like we've done before, just that little bit there. So I'm going to get Shady Lane again, and I'm just going to do the corner. So I'm hopefully I'm not going to, as you can see, I'm not doing any of the rest of it, just that little bit there. And all I'm going to do is just, like I say, stamp it in an area where, for one, I can see it and it's relevant to the picture, but for two, first and second generation with this, and it's wet ink, so don't think, oh, it's all right, no, it's wet ink. So just remember, knowing me, I'm going to have a fingerprint somewhere. It's got to happen. Now this is just a bit blocky here, so I'm just going to bring some down, because I just want to bring some ink down here. Reason being is I just want to change the look of this card slightly. Let me just put that there. Brush, there we go. So I'm just going to bring some ink down here. So I'm going to put water down first, and don't forget you've got wet ink, which ideally you can move around now, which isn't a problem. And I'm just going to get a little bit of variant of colour. Just going to move it, and don't think, oh, you've just lost it there, what are you doing? I literally just want a little bit of, sometimes when you got things in your head you have to try. I mean, if not, I can quite easily cut this card up if I don't like it, but I think it's going to be all right. Now I want some of that colour. There we go. Right, so I'm using my olive, and I'm going to most probably put a little bit of yellow into this as well, but I'll see first. Maybe not, actually. I think that might be okay. There we go. I wanted to ground the whole picture basically. Now the brush is still wet, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a couple of strokes here and there, and that will give you the interpretation of grass. And don't worry if it looks odd or anything like that, put some in the background now and start to move your picture, because this is finishing details now. So wherever you've got like wetness or bits here and there, you know, it's going to be moved around. Now I am going to go into some darker green, and I am now just mindful of where my fingers are going, and I'm now going to start just doing a couple of flicks in darker colours in different variants of green. Because when you look at the grass in the garden, if you've got grass in your garden, I've got stones, so this ain't going to be relevant for me. But go and look out in your garden and go and see all the different colours that are out there. It is not just one colour, trust me. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of brown here. And I'm just going to allow that little bit of movement of that wetness on the card to just ground things for me. There we go. And then all I'm going to do now to finish it off is I'm going to go in with a white. Now, before I go in with that white, I'm just going to add a little bit more brown, just around little areas here and there. Because that could then look a bit more like a brick, or, I don't know, like a stone in the background sort of thing. Sometimes it's nice just to add just little, you know, possibilities of things. And all I'm going to do here now is just flick up, take it into that white area, because I love white space, but sometimes the card doesn't need it. You know, so to me, I love that. Then, and if I put Dad on here or whatever occasion you're doing this for, yeah. Right, so time for white. Let's dry off. So in places I'm going to put white and yellow down now. So these lovely little parts of this tree that Tracy designed is now going to turn into flowers. So your card's going to curl, turn it over, and it will flatten, and then it'll do the reverse again. It'll recurl and just turn it over. Okay, so I'm just going to do that a couple of times so I know everything's nice and dry. Give it a wiggle if you need to. Yeah, I'll tell you, he's a proud little devil, he is, isn't he? Right, let's get some colour on now. A couple of different ways you can do it. You could do Posca pens if you wanted to. What I'd say is, if you do Posca pens, I'm just going to do a blob on here. There we go. I've just got a lovely blob of ink there. If I'd done that on there, I'd have ruined it. So sometimes it's nice for you to actually blob out onto something, whether it's a stamping block, a palette, anything like that that you use, and then just put that onto the ink. Now I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to go straight in with my white first, and I'm just going to dot just in places where I've got those lovely little areas which are like my tree, but it's actually, these are now going to turn into flowers. So when you've got stamps, actually look at them and think to yourself, oh, I could turn that into something else. Lisa would. Yes, I would. I look at stamps specifically to see what I can turn them into, a tree, a bit of background. Because at the end of the day, don't have everything the same as everybody else. We've all got those little bits of imagination, and I know you guys have. I've seen the work that you're putting out. And there's some amazing stuff out there, so don't stop posting. Goodness me, honestly, you're so inspiring. This is, you know, I'm inspired by so many different things. I mean, somebody said to me the other day, have you seen the pheasant of this other company? And I said, oh no, I hadn't. And then when I looked, I thought, oh yeah, it's a bit of a wacky one, you know, but it's not what I had in my head. I wanted this realistic, and this particular this stencil gave me that start point, basically. Now obviously this is Posca that I'm using now. Now when it's still wet, you can move this stuff around, and there's a lot of you don't realise the amount of stuff you can actually do with Posca. Now obviously my brush is wet. Let me take off the Posca, let me dry it off, dab it off, and then let me move it around before it dries. Let's move the white around, because then that gives you, instead of it being just a hard big blob of colour, which is nice, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you just need to add little bits of colour in different places, so it actually looks like you've got a blended, because when you look at things from a distance, you're not going to see white blobs just sitting there. You're actually going to see a merge of colour. So I'm now going to put little bits of yellow in and around, and I'm just going to move it along just where, I mean, I could even flick it up into grass if I wanted to, you know, and then just again with your finger move stuff around. And if something's too harsh, put some water over it, let the water activate the ink and let the water move it around, because look at that now. Yeah, so you got these two blobs here, blob there. Just move them around, just allow your medium, water, etc. And there you go. I'm happy with that. You'd never guess you started off from a stencil. Exactly. Please look at your stencils. The amount of stencils I've got, and they're vast, right? And you look at them, you think, what am I going to do with that? Well, turn it into something. I've got some gorgeous bird ones. I mean, you've seen what Tracy's put out there. Turn them into something. Get a reference picture. Actually turn it into a picture. I mean, look at that now. There you go. Sorted. Let me just put that. I'm going to matte and layer this. And obviously put it out there. And what I do, I've got a lot of one-of-a-kind pieces now. Obviously, we've got two totally different. They are the same, but different. Again, I never repeat my work, because then if I do give somebody a piece of artwork, I like it so you've got something different. I actually prefer this one now with all of the carnage around it than that. But you all looked at that and went, wow. I haven't put his what's it on. Let's put his doogie on. Hold on. See, look at that. There's me getting all excited, thinking I'd finished. Right, so on the tail bit, I'm glad I looked at that then, otherwise that would have bugged me. There's always like these little bits that come across. Now, all I've done here was, again, just a couple of lines in different places. And because obviously there's 2 or 3 different feathers, you've just got to move them around a little bit. And then I just went up with the black pen here and there, just so it gives that crispness. And then you do actually want to add a little bit of white. And let me just, where's my blinking, what's it? There it is. That'll do. That'll do. Let me just grab a bit of white, because I just want to put a couple of little white highlights in. I'm glad you enjoyed this one. As I say, next week will be a bit different. So Friday I'm travelling down to Portsmouth. I've got a workshop in Portsmouth, which I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody. I'm even going to pick somebody up on the way and take them down. Bless, that'll be good fun. I'll have a bit of company. Right, so let me just... And again, don't be shy to move things around, and especially the white. I love moving whites around, because you think to yourself, oh, well, what are you doing that for? Well, I just want I want you to look at a picture and look into the picture. Not look at it and think, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, I want you to look past the actual picture and actually see the detail that goes into a picture. And that's what you want to do when you're creating. No matter what you're creating, you want people to actually look and appreciate your work. Let me just put in just a bit more of that light colour there. That's it. So like a hold your breath moment sort of thing, isn't it? There we go. That's better. Because his tail's a lot lighter, you see. There we are. That's better. Okay. Let me just put a little... See, I can keep... I could do this forever. You look at your piece and you think, oh, I can just add that bit there, and I'll just change that bit there. And then before you know it, it's like, crikey, what am I doing? You know? Right, let me just add those little wispy bits, just for that bit of detail. There we go. There we go. I'd be happy to send that out to somebody now. Right, I won't get a lift. Oh dear. Right, okay, so no, it's going to be good fun. Can't wait. So let's dry that off. So I don't want to put my finger in any wet paint. So there we have one pheasant strolling and struttering his stuff about like somebody that's cock of the field sort of thing, you know. So if I put that like that, that's an idea of what you do if you mat and layer it. Okay, so one stamp, which is that one there. Yeah, that's all we've used. And then let me grab the stencil, and that's all we've used to actually do that. So that's SS18 and TE35. Let me just get that off. So again, when you look at what you buy, look past one picture, look past and think to yourself, well, hold on, them can turn into flowers. I could put a dot in the middle of that and then put colour on the outside, and that would be proper little flowers. Sylvia, thank you, my darling. I'm so glad you've enjoyed it. So please look at your different stamps. Look at how versatile they are. I can't say they're enough, actually, you know. So let me move things out of the way. Let me show you what we've done. And then I'll let you enjoy your day with whoever you're sharing it with. And if you're sharing it with yourself, you enjoy you, yeah? So that was our original, and that's what we've done today. So I'm really hoping that you've enjoyed maybe having a try and add in, you know, like I say, this particular piece, you know, it hasn't got to be an upright piece. You could go over, you could do different layers, add colour, add your layers, pull apart how I've just structured this, because when you look at other artists' work, I had people message me all the time now, Lisa, how do you do this? Lisa, how do you do that? Pull away the layers. Think about what they've put down first. So I've showed you today, it's antique linen and brushed corduroy to start that piece. And we've just done that piece with a stencil. And that's it. The rest of it is a little bit of imagination. Now, remember, that's important. And if you haven't got imagination, go and get yourself on Google, Etsy, or wherever you like to look at pretty pictures and think, I'm going to have a go at that one. And tag me in it. Show me what you've done. I'd love to see it. So go and enjoy your day, whoever you're spending it with. And if you're on your own with other family members that aren't here, you know, we can light a candle. We can go and look at the flowers in the garden. We can go and have a breath of fresh air, yeah? So I love you all. Stay safe, and I will see you Tuesday. Tuesday's going to be quite spectacular because Diane has sent me a couple of reference pictures, and I've actually picked one. I haven't put it out into the ethos. I've picked it, and I'm going to have a play. So enjoy that one. I will put a picture up prior. So you'll have an idea of what we're going to do. I'll also let you know what colours. I'll also put the reference picture out if you want to have a go, print it off and have a go with me. So enjoy your day. I'm going to go. I'm going to turn off all the different socials. So the first one to go off will be Insta. So toodle pip. So Insta's now ending. Oh, Debs, bless you. Share. I never know with Insta what to press. View insights, maybe. Oh, I don't know. We'll leave that one there, stranded. All of you beautiful people on my Facebook, have a go at that. Do you know something? Now I'm looking at it through your eyes. That actually looks really pretty. Yeah, I'm going to mat and layer that and put that out there. I'm going to change his beak though. It looks a bit of an odd beak. Yeah, I'm going to change his beak, but not now. I'll do it in a bit. So, love to you all. Yes, Diane Nemeth. I'm gonna pick one of your pictures. So, see you later. Sylvia, see you later, sweetie. I'm just going to go onto YouTube now. Let me just try and turn this off. Well, I will do in a minute. Let me... oh, slow connection. Can't do that 1 minute. Ah, there we go. No, yeah, there we are. Whoa, there we go. Ending live broadcast. Right, you guys, let me... Bye, Alison. Okay, so, yeah. I definitely think his beak looks a bit... Yeah, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change it more to that. So... Bye, Trudy. So there's my paints, there's my mess, there's everything there, and that's what I played around with today. So there you go. All right, so have fun, love to you all, and I'll see you Tuesday. All right then, so see you later. There we go.